Hey everybody, welcome to the workshop. Last time I made a matching pen and pencil kit as a Christmas present. This time I'm going to make a walnut gift box to put them in, so stay tuned. Alright everybody, next step is to do the marking out. Now my box is only going to be about 2 inches tall, and I've already made these boxes before, so I already know that if I cut 2 strips 2 inches wide off of each board, I can actually get a total of 4 panels, because I'm going to be making 2 boxes. A front, a back, and 2 sides, and do that for both sides. So I'm going to measure 2 inches from the end, and I like to give myself just a little bit extra because of my own human error. So I'm going to do it at 2.4 according to this. Alright, next step is we're going to cut these 2 strips on the table saw, then we'll come back and measure out for each one of the panels. Alright, the next step is to measure out the length of the panels. I want the front and the back to be 7 inches long and the 2 sides to be 4.5 inches long. Now I always like to give myself just a little bit of extra because I know how I'm going to end up screwing things up. So I'm going to say 7 1/8. From that mark, I'm going to measure out another 7 1/8. And then from here, just a little over 4.5. And then just a little over 4.5 again. And I guess while I'm here, I can just go ahead and do both of them. Alright, now these cuts are also going to be beveled cuts, so I'm going to set the saw up, come back, and we'll make those cuts. Alright, now that we got the pieces all cut up, now we got to sand the inside of them because it's going to be a little difficult to get to it once you get it all glued up. So this is the next step in the process. Alright, now that we've got everything cut, beveled, off camera, I got everything sanded, cleaned, and did a dry fit. So far everything is looking good. The next step is going to be put tape on the back of it so we can spin it over, put glue on the miters, and get everything glued up. Now glue loves to be able to soak into the end grain, so what I do is I go ahead and put glue on everything, let it tack up a little bit so that way it soaks in and creates a nice surface for the second round of glue to actually adhere to. So I'll come back here in just a minute or two once it all gets tacked up. Alright, the glue has had a couple of minutes to tack up. It's fairly tacky and it's gotten a chance to absorb into the wood a little bit. So now I'm going to put another round of glue on it, and then we're going to pull it together. Try to get a bulk of the squeeze out, wiped off. Alright, now we're looking good. Now we just have to wait till tomorrow for this to dry. Alright, the glue has had ample time to dry, so we're going to take the tape off of it. Alright, now one problem that I have is on the original design, I meant to have a rabbet cut in the bottom and in the top right here for the top and the bottom to sit down inside of. Since I did not do that, there are other ways to be able to create that rabbet, but I don't have a good way to do it right now. So I'm going to pivot and change up the design just a little bit. What I'm going to do is take my board and I'm going to trace out the section for the top and then do the same thing for the bottom as well. Then once I get it cut out to the dimensions of the box, then I'm going to cut a rabbet inside the top and the bottom that's going to be the same thickness of the box all the way around. So when I go to put the lid on, it's going to fit inside of there and sit on the top right here. Not the original design. I made a mistake, so I have to figure out a way to fix it. This is the design I've come up with. It's still going to look good, and so that's what we're going to do now. Alright, so the next step is to route out the rabbet that's going to go across, or go all the way around the outside of both the top and the bottoms. I've already got the height set and the fence set. So I'm going in a 1/2 inch for the depth, and then the height is going to be a 1/4 inch. Now I've already lowered it down by about half because you don't want to take a full thickness cut because you can really bog down the router, tear something up, possibly even get hurt. So we're going to make 2 passes all the way around each board, and then I'll raise the bit up, and then we'll make another pass. Now we've got the inside of the box lid and the box bottom have been sanded down along with the rabbets to make them smooth. So the next part of the project is to take one of the panels to my X tool and engrave my logo on it, and then I can come back and glue the bottoms on both boxes. Alright everybody, next step is to take the boxes out of the clamps. And now we're going to have to sand the boxes. Now I'm going to leave the lids on the boxes and then sand them together so that way I can sand everything flush and smooth. I could do this with a router bit, but everything is so close, I'm just going to sand it. Now I've got the boxes sanded to 80 grit. Everything is flush and smooth. Now, since I've got some gaps along here, along the edges, I'm going to get some wood glue and use that to help fill in some of the cracks, make them a little bit less noticeable. Now the trick to this is to put some wood glue into the cracks that you have, and then you sand it without the dust collection being on. And as you're sanding, the sawdust will get into the crack and stick to the wood glue and create a filler. It's not a perfect solution, but it works pretty darn well. And I've changed to a 220 grit sandpaper to do more of the finishing work here. You want to make sure that you're pushing that wood glue into the cracks. Now as you can see, it is filled it in, and even though it's visible, still, it looks a lot better than having just that big old gap in there. So I'm going to do that for all the rest of the gaps all the way around and get that sanded down smooth to that 220 finish. Alright, now we're down to the home stretch. Next thing to do is to put the finish on there. I'm going to be using Watco's Danish oil. After that, once it dries, then we'll have to cut the foam out to put inside of it. Then we'll take the pen and pencil kit and then cut the foam for it to accept the pen and pencil, and after that we should be done. Alright, now the thing is all finished up. Wait a few minutes, let it kind of soak in, and then I'll come back and I'll wipe it off. Alright everybody, that's the end of this project. Everything came out looking really good. I really enjoyed making it, and I hope the guys at work really enjoy their Christmas gifts. I'm looking forward to making more projects like this in the future, so if that's something you're interested in, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time in the workshop.